Morning, everyone. My name is Seema Mansouri, and I'm Head of Business Development here at Arana Security, and I'm joined by my colleague.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Arana. I'm the Sales Director at Arana Security.
We're going to be discussing MARTYN'S law today and understanding the Terrorism Act and a guide for operations managers. So I'm going to start with what we're going to go discuss, what we're going through today in today's session. It's basically going to be background on purpose of MARTYN'S law, who does the law apply to, key requirements under MARTYN'S law, and what this means for operations, sites, security managers, etc. And then how Arana Security can help you with this and its components. Please, could you keep your questions till the very end? We will answer them all. We'll have plenty of time, and we're just going to move on. Thank you. So, unfortunately, as you know, tragedy occurred on May 22nd, 2017, where multiple fatalities among young concert goers, where 22 people were killed, including children, and 500 plus injured during the attack. This exposed a significant gap in the venue's security and what should have been done. It also led to national reflection on protective security responsibilities and who is actually held responsible to protect the site, the venue, and the public. Now, with MARTYN'S law, what it aims to achieve is to create consistent protective security standards across the UK, implement proportionate approach based on the venue size and risk, give public confidence in venue safety and attending these events again, establish clear accountability for venue operators, and transform security best practice into legal obligation. And based on my own experience recently, I attended a show where I met Vegan Murray, MARTYN'S mom, and we had a great conversation on how this is so crucial and it's so wonderful that it's finally coming into effect, where we can all put things into place and keep everyone safe. Now, I'm going to discuss a little bit about the journey of the law and how it came about. In 2017, unfortunately, the Manchester Arena bombing happened. And then in 2021, after years of putting things together to consult and make this happen, the public consultation began. And then the bill was introduced in 2024 to the Parliament. And then in April 2025, the royal assent granted. Now, the Act became law on the April 3rd, 2025. This means you have 24 months from April 2025 for full enforcement. So to make sure that during this time, you basically comply with what the Home Office is publishing with the statutory guidance, which is expected to come out mid-2026. Who does MARTYN'S law apply to? There are two tiers. One is the standard tier, which is basically public premises with a capacity of 200 plus, which covers the majority of public spaces. 4 core obligations apply, and most common tier for operational managers. Basically, if you've got a capacity of 200 plus, that's your standard one. Then we move to the enhanced tier, which is the capacity of 800 persons for certain events, and then venue designated by Secretary of State. With that, we will go into it later on. We'll show you for the additional requirements that are applying to the venue. We will go through it step by step. And then the named responsible individuals required. Exclusion and special cases. Premises used mainly for worship and religious purposes will be classed at standard regardless of capacity. Educational institutions for registered students will be classed as standard also regardless of capacity. And then residential premises below the capacity thresholds. And voluntary adoption obviously is always implemented for best practice and encouraged to use it anyway in all these places at all times. Understanding the anticipated capacity. It's not just physical maximum. This basically means if you have a venue that has 500 people for its capacity, but at any given time, you are only allowing 200 people to come into the venue. So therefore, you need to to comply for that 200 people, not the capacity of 500. And then we're going to go into the 4 core obligations, which is written risk assessment, identifying reasonably foreseeable terrorist risks. 2, protective security measures, implement appropriate proportionate measures, emergency procedures, protocols for calling emergency services, and 4, staff training, which ensure all staff understand all the procedures at all times.
Thank you, Seema, for going through that and giving the information about MARTYN laws and the Act. Now, as Seema mentioned, in terms of the 4 kind of areas of the risk, so obligation 1 is the risk assessment. Now, this is not a generic template. It is more more based on your requirements. Consider what makes you a potential target, your vulnerabilities based on the location or your premises. Okay, so Protect UK provide the guidance on general risk factors. Now, obligation number 2 is the measures, security measures. You will identify the risks that you must implement to mitigate them. Key principles, appropriate and reasonable, practicable. Looking at the access control and entry procedures, surveillance, the monitoring procedures, your physical security, such as like barriers, locks, or even lighting within the area, your search procedures for events, and crowd management strategies as well. So looking at all these different measures, identifying that will support going forward. Also, another important thing is the emergency procedures. So making sure you have the call emergency procedure 909 or 101 in place, communicating with staff during incidents, so procedures around that, policies, public communication protocols, evacuations and lockdown. So all these procedures is to be documented and known about. Another important factor is staff training. Obviously, up to date training for your staff for them to be awareness of protective measures, what's in place, to be familiar with the emergency procedures, personal roles and responsibilities, identifying which each individual's roles as well, and practical response skills. So ensuring regular drills is carried out as well. Now, Seema earlier was talking about the enhanced tier. So ensuring that a designated responsible individual with role and authority is in place. Enhanced security plan with specific prevention arrangements. All these are documented. More detailed planning documents required. Named individual must have resources to fulfill the responsibility. Additionally, measures is for the crowd strategy, the search procedures, physical security will also be needed documented. Now, in terms of the measures and the risk, consider what your resources, your circumstances, making sure everything is documented, and it's not about, it's not about being perfect. It's about reasonable effort, making sure everything is in place and prepared for. So the challenges you may face. You know, everyone knows about budget, the constraint of security investment. You know, we're not, you know, in terms of if you have a limited budget, make sure you are using that budget for the higher risk, not to cover everything. You know, ensuring things are put in place in terms of the highest risk that is known to you. You know, so use your budgets kind of more in a clever way. Time and resources limitation. You know, everyone knows resources. You know, limited staff, limited people to do those types of actions and responsibilities. Staff resistance to new procedures. You know, certain people don't like change. So it's always also having that in your mind and how the best way to move forward, balancing security with visitor experience. You know, all these improvements into security is to support the visitors and staff, but also making sure the visitor experience is not jeopardized as well. Keeping arrangements and current up to date. So making sure you know, throughout this is your knowledge of up to date, reading. You know, when the protective guidance is released, having a look at that, reviewing it, and just reading more about the Act for you to understand and get more knowledge for it. Now, we're gonna, you know, this is to determine the action plan. Okay, so it will able to for you to establish the capacity. So what your capacity is to identify your tier. So all this checklist also will be available to download for you, but it's for you to kind of gauge of where you stand, and also appoint a responsibility. It allows you to not to forget things that once you go through you can tick off. Now these checklists also will go for the CCTV requirements. Okay, so it lines out the main points, you know, for the tiers, the standards, the enhanced tiers. So it will show you which area you will fall under. Also, the access control requirements. Again, it will go through a check to understand which tier you will fall over, will fall under. So maintain visitor sign or access. Brief staff on secure doors and windows during incidents. Review your public enter leaves and access vision. So all these kind of checkboxes you'll go through in detail to understand your kind of premises and procedures for life. And again, then it is to determine your intruder alarm requirements. So we're seeing the different checklists going from CCTV to intruder to access control, all the elements that will protect the premises, the staff, and the visitors. So it's just always having that in your mindset, looking at, you know, if things do change as well, to go back to these checklists. You know, venues change over the years, capacity changes, new things come into place. So make sure you have you go through the regular checklist, you know, making sure you're still compliant to these things. Training, procedures and training is important. Making sure the staff, the event staff are on the day, security, man guard contractors, all these have the relevant training and procedures that they follow. You know, it's making sure that they have the right knowledge. If you know, God forbid, an incident does happen, and it's they're prepared for. So you can have all the policies and procedures written up, documented, but if it's not followed, then there will be gaps in place and things won't run smoothly as you want it. So this is again important, and everything to document it as well. Document and logs is very important. So your compliance journey, you know, establish a position under the delegation, complete a gap analysis, implement an action plan. All these milestones are important. You get information, online, read about it from the Home Office as well, the Protect UK guidance. Make sure your knowledge around Martyn's Law Act, and understand of it as well. So, and also another thing, Arana Security can support you at every stage as well. We're able to, give you the information and try and see what is out there, compile the right information for you. How we can help, we look at the gap analysis, personalized discussion on your circumstances. We'll tailor the scope of work to your proposal, but it's understanding your premises, understanding your goals, your risks, your challenges, and look at, okay, what's the highest risk? Depending on your budget. If you have a low budget, then what is the most important element that we need to protect? It's those kind of things that need to be discussed. It's better to start now to put these in place, to even start thinking about it, putting an action plan in place, so you'll be ready when the time comes.
And also, if I could add, it's as Ali said, it's important to cover what is the most crucial, and we can do the assessment for you based on not just what you have the capacity, but how many people are actually attending a venue or in an area, and then you can also phase it. I know cost is a big issue, as Ali said, so we can do it in phases. Phase one, what is the most crucial for you right now to make sure you comply with? Then stage two and onwards, if there are. And then that way you can budget for it and plan for it and make sure as the law, everything comes into place and perhaps the law changes, things get added, then you have a plan, a backup plan already saying we are going to put this in place and this is how we are going to do it. So I guess now we just want to know if anyone has any questions for us.
Okay, one thing as well to add is, keep an eye out. As I said, mid-2026, the guidance will be released by the Home Office. It's something, at the moment we don't want to speculate on what's the things out there. So that's why we're only kind of giving information at the moment that is known to us, what is out there, from even speaking to certain people. From last week we had a Security and Policing Expo. It's things are coming together, but also just keep an eye out on the guidance, which will be coming out mid 2026.
And another thing I wanted to add is in implementing everything, make sure you are putting in an assessment plan into place. And once you comply with everything, it's still good to, as Ali said, the capacity changes, venue might change, things may change. So perhaps put something in every 6 months, a mini assessment, risk assessment, and then perhaps an annual one where it's the big one where you're going to move forward and implement things. Now, I just want to say you can unmute to ask questions. So if you want to unmute yourself, you can ask us any questions. And if there aren't any, then I guess we've done our job. So we'll just wait to see if anyone has any questions. Just unmute yourself. Or you can say hello.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Thank you for the people who have joined. This will be available to download the recording. It will also, if you want to request any information, please contact the below email info@arana.security.com, and someone from the team will get back to you. So thank you very much. I hope you have a good rest of the day. I hope this was beneficial, at least more informative for you to take part in.
And follow Ali and I on LinkedIn or our own LinkedIn for Arana Security for any updates on anything that's